Hello, travelers! So excited that you all are joining us here tonight. I'm Sophie Takagi Kaner,
Hi, I'm Kevin Vibert.
and we are here with a whole bunch of the original actors from the Penumbra to bring you our live playthrough of Thief of Hearts, which is an amazing fan-made dating sim.
A cast of thousands.
That's not true.
Divided by slightly smaller thousands.
So I have a couple of announcements before we begin. One thing is that, of course, as you already know, because you're here, watching and listening to this stream is completely free. But if you would like to support us, we do have an organization that you can support if you are interested. It is called the Theater Community Benevolent Fund. There is a link to donate there in the description of this video. The Theater Community Benevolent Fund provides financial relief in a confidential, respectful manner to individual theater practitioners and nonprofit theater organizations of Greater Boston and the surrounding areas. This is particularly relevant right now, obviously, because theater artists are very much out of work right now.
Those are our people.
Those are our people. And so if you are interested in supporting this organization and helping out theater artists in our area, you can go to that link in the description, and I hope you do, if you can. So tonight, as we play Thief of Hearts, this is really our first time doing something like this, which is pretty cool, and we're really excited that so many of the actors could join us. If people do cut in and out, it's probably because of internet connectivity, and unfortunately there's not much we can do, so I apologize in advance if there are any issues like that. It could happen. This is live, so anything can happen. We don't know. It's also possible that we could run into other unanticipated tech issues. I hope we don't, but we absolutely might. So if that happens, we will just have to do our best to handle it in the moment, so please bear with us. We have actually not played through the whole thing yet.
Not the whole thing, no.
We've played through the beginning of it, but not everything, so we don't know everything that happens, and you will be experiencing it right along with us. So for tonight, we will be playing through what we think is basically the first two arcs, which we think will be about an hour. Tonight, it could be a little more or less, we're not sure. And then if it all goes amazingly and everyone has a great time, then we will regroup at a later date, TBD, to keep playing along. And what else? The YouTube chat is being moderated, but we're not going to be interacting with it. So, say what you want to say, but like the actors are not going to be reading it as we perform tonight. Also, it is possible that you may hear a dog. that could happen, and it is what it is.
I think a couple of our actors also have cats.
Yes.
There's a whole menagerie in here.
So who knows? And, if you do hear a dog, you're blessed.
If you do hear a dog, then in this alternate universe, it's canon that Juno Steel has a
dog. So, with that being said, I'd love to have the actors who we're playing with tonight just go around and introduce themselves. So, go for it. Who all's here? Yep, you need to unmute yourself.
That's better. This is Joshua Ilon, and I'm thrilled to be here.
Hey, it's Kat. I am also thrilled to be here.
Leslie Drescher. I am mostly thrilled to be here.
Leslie, no.
No, just kidding. I love it.
This is Kate Jones. Hi.
This is Noah Symes. I feel okay about being here.
Great. Off to a great start.
All right.
I had a little trouble.
I had a little trouble here.
Right?
Simon,
I don't know
too.
if other people did.
Simon, you're cutting out.
Yep.
There you are.
You know why? Because my headset has two buttons on it. One for muting and the other one that does other things.
Right.
Yes. I continue to be Simon, Moody, and I will be moderating in the chat, and I am also going to be doing background tech support, and I am psyched to be here.
Yay! And if we are lucky, later on we will be joined by Sutherland. He's not here quite yet, but hopefully we'll be blessed by him as well.
So he is not psyched to be here.
But he might be later.
He might be psyched to be elsewhere, though, and we wish him much joy of that.
So we're all playing from home and happy to be here. Well, no, you know how happy each person is to be here because they've made it very
We
clear.
feel various ways about being in various places.
All right.
Some of us aren't here and feel ways about that.
All right, so I think that's all covered thoroughly. And with that, let's get started with the game.
All right.
Kevin's going to be the one playing through and making the choices. So if you don't like the choices that are made, you know who to blame, and it's not me.
Yeah, if you don't like the choices that Juno Steel makes, take a number, you know what I mean? Anyway. Warning, the following game contains major spoilers for Season 1, as well as minor spoilers for Season 2 of the Penumbra Podcast. Proceed. Warning, this game contains cursing, violence, and injury mentions, innuendos, self-deprecation, alcohol use, and vivid hallucinations depending on which route you take. If you would like any specifics on where these triggers are found, DM us on Tumblr at thiefofarts, tpp.tumblr.com. Proceed. Welcome, travelers, to the Penumbra. You've picked an excellent time to stop by. Our favorite detective, Juno Steel, is about to face one of his most confusing puzzles yet. This case won't last forever, though, so he can't delay. After he meets his suitors, he only has 1 week to win their affection. 7 dates in 7 days. What will he choose? Will Detective Steel discover the truth of these men who all seem to wish to romance him? Or will he end up lonely once again? Find out what happens in Juno Steel and the Thief of Hearts.
In the middle of these incessant crowds, no one existed. All that existed was the massive consciousness called Hyperion City. It pulsed with the energy and emotion of all the little lives that filled it. And if you took away one little particle from this colossal being, it wouldn't make much of a difference. One life in millions, insignificant and inconsequential and small. I looked around my office to find that it was still as much disarray as it was before I started gazing out the window. Evidently, staring into space would not spontaneously clean the room. I sighed again and heard the sound of Rita shuffling around outside.
Are you okay?
Yeah, of course I'm okay.
Boss, because I actually had something to ask you about.
What do you want?
Apparently I'm cutting out. Is it better for me? Is it better now?
It's much better now. Keep going.
Oh, good. Okay, great. Boss, you know I've got just the thing for you.
Just the thing for what? I don't need anything.
You need to get out there and date some people.
What?
Yes, and Franny was telling me just the other day about all the new restaurants opening up in the city, so you could go to one of those. Oh, did you know there was the one where they give you food and then you're in a pod and it spins around the whole time? And there's this one where, oh no, I'm cutting out again. Oh no. Just tell me if I'm better, okay? Okay, I'm great, I'm back, okay. And then there's one where they show you the end of the whole universe and you can eat from a big buffet and...
Neither of those things sound enjoyable.
You just need to put yourself out there. See some people, you know? It's been years. I don't understand why you don't. You'd have a great time.
I don't know, Rita. I haven't really done that in a while.
Which means it's totally time for you to do it now. Just the thing for you.
Wait, slow down, Rita. I haven't done this since... I guess I just haven't had the time or patience for it, so I'm just really out of practice. Wait, practice what?
As a tutorial, Mr. Steel. I'll start. Hi, I'm Rita, and it's very nice to meet you.
Yeah, I know who you are.
We're pretending. It's like improv. Explore the space with me, boss.
Oh, that's what you meant. The name's Juno Steel. How do you do?
Please, tell me about yourself.
Wouldn't you like to know? But alas, I'm simply too mysterious to be known. Wink.
Please.
I winked.
Oh, I think you're to use one eye.
Oh.
It's okay. Your date will find it endearing. Just don't be too flirty or they might get uncomfortable. Try again. Tell me about yourself.
I'm a PI. I'm usually busy with work, and I haven't done this in a while, but I'm a... I don't know what else to add to that. My life is a series of kicks in the teeth. I know I'm not good enough for you.
Carol, way. Just be yourself. You're doing great.
Gee, thanks, Rita.
Duh.
You know, maybe this isn't such a good idea. I have enough going on with work anyway. It basically takes up my entire life, and I guess it's probably not a great idea to make somebody else deal with that. Besides, I'm fine as I am, you know? It's part of my mysterious charm. Anything could hurt. It could hurt very badly. I don't think there are going to be any more clients today, Rita. You should probably head home.
Okay? And maybe try to do happy monologues sometime.
I'll try, Rita. She walked out looking equal parts disheartened and worried. Maybe I owed it to her to at least try. I glanced around my office again and realized I was no closer to having it tidied up. Well, there was always tomorrow. A new day. I had just been lamenting about my lack of exciting cases when my comms beeped, sending me a series of photos. If only I had kept my damn mouth shut.
That weird text you just got, boss.
On my screen was what looked like a glass case, but the entire scene was too drenched in blood for me to get a good look at. It took me a minute to realize I was looking at a room in the Kanagawa mansion. Its ugly, theater-esque decor was hard to mistake. It wasn't the blood that made me so queasy, though. That certainly didn't help. It was what was written in the blood that was above. It was what was written in the blood on the wall above the case. You're next, Juno Steel.
Oh, it's all and weird, and I can't even.
Just patch it through, Rita.
To, but it's.
Well, Juno, you're chipper as ever.
They didn't hear you.
Well, Juno, you're chipper as ever.
Sasha Wire, Dark Matter's agent and former childhood friend. She was one of the smart ones. She got out of Hyperion City the second she got the opportunity. Oh, I'm sorry, Agent. I should have been more ladylike. What's got you down? Hung up over the fact that you had to break your streak and come back to Hyperion?
You know, maybe I'm just worried about you and your safety.
Yeah, no.
Fair enough. Have you heard of the death mask of Grimpothuthis?
Grim's mask? You mean the one the Kanagawa's dug up during a primetime special, destroying thousands of years of Martian artifacts along the way?
I didn't think you, of all people, would care about Martian relics.
I don't, but that doesn't mean I think they should be demolished for the sake of one family's profit. Anyway, is that seriously what you're calling about? Dark Matters really has time for hokey urban legends?
We don't know whether or not they're fake. All we know is that your life, as well as the lives of others, could be at risk. No one wants an ancient alien demon or a killer with a penchant for graffiti on the loose.
How civic-minded of you. Well, thanks for the warning, Sash. I'll keep an eye out for the boogeyman hiding under my bed. Let's do this again in what, another 15 years?
This is serious, Juno.
Oh, my bad. I thought those were your weekend shades.
One way or another, there is a killer out there, and you are the only one the Kanagawas will allow to investigate.
There it is. So you need a favor.
No, I'm doing you one. Dark Matters is sending a specialist to assist you.
No.
He's also an occult expert, if that helps.
Hell no.
If you refuse, he has standing orders to whisk you away somewhere safe from boogeymen. I have the asteroid all picked out. I'm sure you two will be very happy there.
Sasha, I don't need some weirdo in a suit holding my hand.
Then talk him out of the suit. He should be there right about...
Hello? Detective Steele?
now.
Sasha!
Take care, Juno. I mean it.
Oh, was that Agent Wire? I always seem to just miss her.
Tall, dark, and holding an expensive-looking latte had stepped in to talk to Rita. I couldn't really see him, but that meant he couldn't see me, and that gave me a chance to slip out. Rita was chatting away, so I grabbed my jacket and my blaster and crawled out the window. My office is only on the 3rd floor, which isn't bad in a city full of floating mansions and high skyscrapers. But when you're crouched on a ledge clinging to a sheer wall, exact height doesn't really matter. This was a mistake.
Detective? Where... Are you outside your window?
A perfectly coiffed head leaned out next to me. And that's all I saw before I got queasy again and had to close my eyes.
This city really does have quite the skyline, though there are certainly other sights here just as lovely. Detective, are you stuck?
I couldn't reply, but slender, strong hands grabbed my wrist and my belt and led me back onto solid ground.
Apologies, Detective. This is a new cologne. I hadn't realized it was that bad.
What? Oh, I mean... It's all right. A lady could get used to it.
Rex Glass.
Juno Steel.
Shall we get dinner? I'm positively famished. We can discuss the case over one of your local delicacies.
You let me know how that goes. I have a case to solve.
Fine. I'll take a rain check on that dinner. If you're so determined, let's go investigate this grisly affair.
Thanks, but no thanks, Mr. Mystery. I can handle this.
But I've only just made the pleasure of your acquaintance, Detective. You aren't getting rid of me that easily. Come along, we have spirits to spook. You can fill me in on the way there.
What? Hey, when did you get my keys? Casa Kanagawa, a mobster's palace in the sky full of people who hated me and a threat on my life written in blood on the wall. And Rex was treating it like a tourist trap. At least until we passed the first hulking security cousin. The sight of those muscles would sober anyone up. Then one of the thugs showed us what remained of Krisis Kanagawa, and Rex perked right back up. Ugh, being weird must be a job requirement of Dark Matters.
Feeling better, Juno?
I'm fine.
Are you certain?
You don't need to stop whatever you were doing just to fuss over me.
I've collected all the information I need for the moment. We don't have to go back in there.
I said I'm fine. Ugh. Okay. Candy Kanagawa said only the twins and Krisis together could open that case, right?
Correct. It was quite a lock. I imagine Krisis fancied himself the guardian of some great hoard of treasures.
So, the twins are our best suspects then?
Look at you, bravely soldiering on.
Which means that we should question them.
Naturally. Shall we divide and conquer? You take one twin, I'll take the other.
And leave you to get torn apart in the Kanagawa funhouse on your own? Even I'm not that mean.
Really, Detective, I can handle myself.
That's not a chance you'd want to take in these halls.
Fine. You know, if you wanted to spend more time with me, you could have just asked.
I just don't want Sasha coming after me if you get hurt is all.
My brave hero. So, which twin shall we question first?
Might as well get it over with.
Get what over with?
Whatever Cecil has waiting for us. It can only be uphill from there. Probably.
You take me to the most wonderful places, Juno.
If we survive this, maybe I'll retire and become a tour guide. Pay is probably better. Come on, this is the door to Cecil's studio.
Are you quite sure this is the way you want to take, Detective? This is a rather tight fit.
I find it's best not to take the path Cecil expects you to.
Getting me alone in a tight space. Dare I ask of your intentions with me, Detective?
Yeah, well...
And it's so dark. Take my hand, Detective. You can't be too careful.
I found the door. Come on. Here's the door.
Ah.
The stage lights flickered on and we could see the setting. We were at the top of a seating area for a game show stage, full of saws on mechanical arms and flamethrower nozzles. They hung still in the air. Rex grabbed my shoulder and pointed to the floor directly in front of me. A pressure pad. Nope, not doing this. I grabbed Rex's arm and dragged him back to the door, and right into the wall of slobbering cameramen that had circled us.
Oh. Oh dear.
Junebug! Leaving so soon? And after I went through all the work of making this lovely obstacle course just for you.
God damn it.
Hello, Mars! And welcome to the first episode of From the Jaws of Death, starring the brave, the heroic, my very best friend.
Your what?
Juno Steel, and his very handsome friend, Agent Glass, from the ever-mysterious Dark Matters.
Canned jeers played from Cecil's loudspeakers as Cecil, in his booth on stage, vamped for a cameraman. Cecil, goddammit, we aren't here for your show. We have questions about...
Ooh, a twist. You hear that, viewers? I'll tell you what, Detective Junebug. Make it to the end of my obstacle course, and I'll tell you whatever your heart desires. Cameramen, positions!
The camera-headed, hook-handed, cybernetic monsters started crawling over walls and between blades. Lenses trained on us the whole time. Rex took half a step behind me.
Oh, hello, here I am. I have a voice. I'm not overly fond of cameras, Detective. Dark Matters takes our secrets seriously.
What a coincidence, Glass. I'm not a huge fan either, but Cecil prefers post-production, keeps all his raw footage stored in his cybernetic arm.
Good to know.
You'll have to thank Daddy and Min for this little project. When they took away my antique torture devices, they gave me the idea to cobble together this humble little death trap. Enjoy, darlings.
In the middle of the stage, a podium rose with a big red button on it. The blades started to swing in random arcs, bursts of fire and beams of plasma filling what little space remained between. I didn't ever want to know what the pressure pads connected to.
Well, our objective seems clear, Detective. Do you have an idea, or shall I lead?
I have an idea. Get ready to fight off those things. I pulled my blaster and fired 6 shots through the storm of blades and plasma. 6 cameramen fell from their perches, nailed right down the eye socket. They got caught in the traps, and let's just say it made me miss Creases' mask room.
Detective!
He shoved me out of the way of the 7th cybernetic beast, who dropped from the ceiling behind us. With a flick of his hand, the cameraman crumpled, leaking hydraulic fluid. Rex wiped off his weapon and turned back to me, fixing his perfect hair.
Impressive aim, Detective. But we still have to get to...
I steadied my hand, fired through the saws and flames, and everything shut down. The fried remains of the buttons sank into the floor.
Oh. I believe Mr. Kanagawa owes us our answers.
I believe you're right, Glass. He offered me his hand like I was the kind of lady who needed help with my skirts. I hiked up my coat and stepped down around him, and we made our way to the stage. Cecil was frantically pushing buttons on his console and waving his cybernetic arm in very specific patterns. Nothing responded.
Junebug, you brute! You ruined everything! I worked so hard on this course, too. You never even saw the laser bees!
Fast as a sand snake, Rex had Cecil's cybernetic arm twisted up behind him. Rex poked at Cecil's elbow and a memory card popped out of it. Then he let Cecil go. I stepped between them. Rex stuck the card into his comms.
If you wanted a one-on-one match, handsome, you only had to ask.
I'm afraid I'm spoken for this evening, Mr. Kanagawa. I only needed to delete the footage you had of me.
Hey, Junebug. First you destroy my set, then my recordings? If you didn't want to play, then why did you even come on my show?
Damn it, Cecil, we're here to investigate, not play your stupid game.
Investigate? Whatever for? Everything here is up to code, I assure you.
Oh, good to know.
We're here to figure out who killed Croesus.
What?
Oh no.
Daddy!
How did you not know?
Juno, you should see this.
While Cecil threw a fit on his podium, Rex showed me his comms. It was Cecil's video feed, time-stamped for last night, of him dressing up as Cassandra and heading out for the night with her camera crew in tow. Cecil, why were you pretending to be your sister?
Oh, we do it all the time. I was grounded, and Cassandra had things she wanted to work on, things to finalize with Daddy.
God, I can't listen to him anymore. Is there anything else in the files, Rex?
Internal emails. One from Croesus about finalizing the schedule soon. Reminders from Min to Cassandra about psychiatric appointments. A bill of sale for... Oh my.
Do I want to know what it is?
No, Detective. No, you do not.
Great. Let's get out of here. If I have to stare at the set any longer, my nightmares are going to be psychedelic.
Oh, so you say you don't enjoy fun murder obstacle courses every now and then?
Nah, I'd say getting knifed in the depths of a floating madhouse in the sky isn't my idea of a good time. Give me a good bar brawl any day. Rex? Before he could finish whatever it was, one of the security cousins swept in and informed us that Min herself wanted to see us. After he'd started dragging us to her office, that is. Real efficient worker, that one.
Detective Steel, and was it Agent Crystal Diamond?
That's not his name.
The whole affair is simply dreadful. Ease my fears, Juno, please. Tell me, how is the investigation faring?
Two of her security goons stepped between Rex and I, closing in on me like stray dogs on a leftover steak. Their hands went to the tasers on their belts.
What evidence have you gathered?
I suspect you already know the answer to that question, Mrs. Kanagawa. But since you asked so nicely, here.
Damn it, Rex.
Thank you, Agent. That's the last piece I needed.
You have evidence of your own?
It's not my fault you didn't ask. I merely needed a bit of outside perspective for all the pieces to fall into place. We can handle the rest from here.
You used me.
Hired you, Detective. We already had footage of my poor, dear husband's death. Such a grisly affair. But there was one little problem.
Miss Kanagawa was in two places at once, wasn't she?
And since Detective Steel knows my darling stepchildren so well, naturally he was best suited to solving this little puzzle.
To getting hard proof of which twin it was, but I'm guessing you already knew it was Cassandra.
Oh, dear Detective, what did we just say about proof? I'm quite sure I didn't know anything about this. And the HCPD is here now to take Cassandra away for us, so your services are no longer required. Perhaps I can get Cassandra's parole Cassandra parole. Monitored, of course. Anything for my dear, sweet daughter.
Listen, you manipulative...
Detective, there are quite a few heavily armed employees here. Perhaps this is not the best time. Pick your battles and all that.
You think you know me so well, Min? Then you should know that I won't just let this go.
Then I pity your beauty sleep.
Juno.
Nothing happens in this house without Min knowing it. Hell, without Min deciding where and how. There is no way.
Juno.
What you do on your own time is your business, detective. But you should know our family doesn't take kindly to people threatening us. Oh, and that should be the HCPD right on time. I do hope you'll excuse me, gentlemen.
Juno, you've got to be more careful. Whatever you're trying to do here, picking a fight with the Kanagawas isn't worth it.
Yeah, well...
Steel, what the hell are you doing here?
Oh, god damn it, Khan, of course you would show up.
I'm an officer of the HCPD and there's been a murder, and that's Captain Khan to you.
Listen, Khan, I've got this under control. I've been...
And leave you to be all buddy-buddy with your criminal best friends, my murderer? No, not happening. I'm not gonna let you muck up this case any more than you already have.
But...
Come along, Juno. Let's leave the good captain to his work.
Actually, you're from Dark Matters, right? I need you to stay. A dependable eyewitness like you will be helpful.
Oh, actually,
Now get out, Steel, before I arrest you for interfering with justice.
Wait, Juno...
Whatever X was going to say was cut off by the slamming door between us. More muscled goons walked me out to my car. Walked was a strong word, actually. They basically dragged me out. Leaving felt so goddamn wrong. But banging on the walls wouldn't get me anywhere. And not that I'd ever admit it to him, but Glass was right. I wasn't in the building anymore, but I could still investigate Min. Quietly, between other cases, I had a chance to get justice for Cass. I had threads I could pull to get back into that investigation. I had... a message? A text from a number I didn't recognize. It read...
I'm sorry our time was cut short, Detective. Don't rush into anything daring without me. You still owe me dinner after all. I will see you again. R.G.
Huh. Hyperion City was just never dark. Neon lights, flashing billboards, all of these added up to an equation making the most beautiful place on Mars an incredibly bright place. Let's just say you don't get dark in stormy nights here. Only stormy. And see, the thing about stormy nights is you don't really get visitors. Everything's closed. Everyone should be asleep, so banging on the door like that at this hour of night was pretty rude. Chances were Rita left something or wanted to restock snacks and forgot her key. If it wasn't Rita, though, nothing good ever happened on nights like this. Rita would have my head if I left her in the rain, or at least complain about it for the next month.
Hello, Detective Juno Steel, right? Sorry to intrude at so late an hour, but you have something of a reputation and I have something of a problem. Might I come in? Rose, by the way. Duke Rose.
Sure. Come in.
Wonderful. I found myself in possession of some sensitive information and unfortunately put me on a tight timeline. In my line of work, that happens often enough, I suppose, but this is just ever so short notice. You come recommended with a knack for improvising, according to Victoria. Valis Vicky, that is.
My first thought was that Duke Rose was the kind of guy who threw himself into things head first. Optimism coming out of his ears. My second thought was that didn't seem like a bad way to handle things. My third thought was that my second thought was stupid, and my fourth thought was that I really should figure out what to do about Duke. I can't guarantee I can help, but I'm willing to try. If by improvising you mean a talent for managing not to die.
Something of the sort, I suppose. I certainly need someone quick on their feet. So the job is simple enough. I presume you're familiar with the Utgard Express, right?
Never heard of it.
Really? Well, it is the solution to a rather classic problem. With enough time and planning, there is no vault a thief cannot get into, yes? So instead they made it so that the thief is not capable of finding it at all. The train goes at incredible speeds and only slows down once a week. My problem is that I have no idea where.
And this is a problem because...
There's something dangerous on that train, and I've discovered that someone is after it. Unfortunately, I don't know who, how, or why, so my best bet is to get to whatever it is first.
Except you don't know where the train slows down, so what, you need me to find out?
Just a step above that. I know who knows. I simply need your help getting the information from them.
Duke pulled an ID from his pocket. It had my face on it, but not my name. Instead, the name was... Dahlia Rose? The hell kind of name is that, Duke? And why is my face on... Did you make me a fake ID before knowing if I'd take the job?
Well, you came recommended.
He began to explain, finally getting to the point of why he came to me. The Utgard Express's path took it through the middle of the Martian desert. Duke knew how to stop it, but he didn't know how or where to board. That was why he needed Brock Engstrom. The man claimed to know how to board and was the only lead Duke had. Duke had a plan to get the information from Engstrom, but he needed a partner, which was where I came in. Fine. But if we're doing this, it's my way or no way. I don't trust you, but I can't risk the possibility of you telling the truth.
Ah, detective of steel with a heart of gold, aren't you? Very well. I was planning on approaching Engstrom and bartering for a card game. How would you do it?
I'm not... Never mind, I'll figure it out there. Engstrom is an old jewel thief, right?
You know your history, detective. Between the two of us, I'm sure we can outsmart an old burglar.
We got to the Oasis Casino Resort and split our separate ways. Duke to check into a hotel room and I to find Engstrom. I thought it would take longer, honestly, but he wasn't subtle. Hovering behind him was a woman dressed as well as he was, but she didn't get the vibe of hanging off him for the money. No, she was a bodyguard for sure. Brock Engstrom?
Yes, and who might you be?
Dahlia Rose. You have information I need. Mind setting aside the machines for a minute?
Well, what is it you need? If it's interesting enough, I might just agree to a trade of sorts. If you're approaching me, you already know I don't do charity work.
Really, never would have guessed.
Don't waste our time, Dahlia.
Duke and I went over our covers for a reason. Now wasn't the time to take a stupid risk, no matter how much I wanted to mock this guy. Maybe later. Fine. It's about the Utgard Express, but quite frankly, I don't want to give you all the details without my husband here.
Partners in crime, then. And his name?
Duke.
Valencia, if you would. She'll find him and bring him to us. Join me in another game room, please. This isn't a subject open to prying ears.
The room was set up for a lot of different games, but I didn't recognize much. And what I did recognize, I didn't think I could win. Not here. So, what are you thinking, Engstrom?
Well, this is a casino, Dahlia. I thought it would be rather clear that we will play a game for the information. Perhaps Rangian Street Poker.
I had no idea what that was, and I did not feel like learning. Not really my style, but we can still gamble. How good is your aim?
It's worn away with the years, but Valencia is a perfect shot.
Yeah, so am I. How about this? 5 targets in this room. You and Valencia choose mine. Duke and I choose Valencia's. Whoever hits the most wins. Engstrom didn't get the chance to respond before Valencia came through the door, smoking a cigarette with Duke walking behind her. I could tell he was nervous, but Duke could fake cheerfulness well.
Dahlia, dearest, for a moment I didn't know. Well, no matter.
He took the seat next to me with the same ease he had managed everything so far, and leaned into my space like he belonged there. It wasn't so bad. Don't be dramatic, Duke. Engstrom, I believe I mentioned my husband.
You did. To business again. The problem I see here is that if you cheat, there's nothing I can do to stop you. That is something I'd like to rectify.
Name your terms, big man.
They're very simple, really. If you so much as try to cheat, Valencia shoots your head clean off your shoulders.
Sure, sounds about right. And if Valencia cheats, I take her out too.
Perhaps you'd rather her target be your husband instead.
Oh, no, I'm the one taking the risk. You leave him out of it.
Ah, my mistake. I thought you were partners in crime.
It's all right, love. We're not going to cheat. There's nothing to...
No, you're not putting yourself in that position. You're either happy with me being collateral, Engstrom, or you put yourself out there instead of your bodyguard. Oh, wait, I thought you said your aim's worn out. I thought you said your aim's worn away with the years.
You are a rather infuriating lady, aren't you?
Sorry, old habit.
Fine. You'll remain collateral, Dahlia. Give me a moment with Valencia, and you can take a moment with your husband.
Engstrom and Valencia turned away to a corner of the room, whispering and muttering. I couldn't hear a word they said, and that felt like a problem. But it was one I'd deal with later.
Dahlia, dear, you didn't have to do that. We're hardly going to cheat at whichever game you've settled on. It isn't so big a deal.
I know, I just didn't... Never mind. If you want to talk about it, then let's do it later. Right now, just watch my back. I don't think they can cheat, and even if they did, I don't think they can win, but...
Of course. I thought you didn't trust me, though.
Shut up, Rose. And the game began. Engstrom picked an easy enough target for round 1, a glass on the other side of the room. Duke returned the favor for Valencia. None of the targets were easy after that, but both of us hit every single one up till the 4th. Valencia couldn't hit the poker chip Duke threw across the room. The 5th round would make or break us, but so long as I hit the target, it was our game. Just our game.
So, Rose, your husband?
What about him? Want him to throw something else for you to miss?
Oh, no, sweetheart. It's your turn.
With a smug smile, she took Duke by the shoulder and dragged him across the room. Hey, what are you doing? This game isn't over yet.
Oh, I know, Dahlia. Just borrowing him for a moment.
Valencia took a playing card from the table and tucked it almost tenderly behind Duke's ear. He went still, understanding the threat immediately. You're a real piece of work, Valencia.
Dahlia, it's all right.
It's not, but just stay still, okay? Trust me. I usually wasn't one for stage fright, but I could already feel nausea rolling in my stomach. Duke followed my advice and stood like stone, those dark eyes fixed on me. He looked at me like we hadn't met just hours ago, like he really knew me well enough to trust me. I raised the blaster and steadied my breathing, forced my hand to still around the cold metal. One eye closed, both hands ready, I breathed out slowly and squeezed the trigger.
Ah!
Duke! I rushed to him before I could think, taking his shoulders, ready to see blood, blaster burns, or worse. But I just saw a playing card with a hole and some singed hairs.
I'm all right. I was just surprised by the noise. Dahlia, you incredible thing.
You cheated!
What?
How in the world could he have cheated?
You must have. You just...
Give up, Engstrom. We've won. Time to pay the piper.
Fine. You'll find what you need in the Ruby 7. It's located in the VIP garage.
I already know where it is. Considered stealing it earlier, but we still had a meeting to get to. Thank you for your cooperation.
Cooperation? I've been after the Utgard Express for years. The thought of losing that job before I get the chance to get what I want, well, it's something to kill for. Something I will kill for.
Sounds exciting, but we'll have to take a rain check on it, maybe next time. And just like that, we were gone. Duke didn't waste time, leading us through the halls and rooms full of flashing machines and bars, no windows or clocks to let us know how long we'd been there. Oldest trick in the book for casinos, but kind of a problem now. Eventually, though, we left it behind and got to a garage. Still not outside, but you could smell the sand and the dust from the desert now.
Oh, hello, darling.
I don't think now's the time, Duke.
Oh, hush, you know I wasn't talking to you.
Duke was fawning over the car we'd locked ourselves in with, running his hands over the smooth, green panel. Huh. Didn't take you to be into cars, Duke. You seem more of a pottery barn and dry white wine man.
You're right in that I'm not a cars man, but a car man singular. The Ruby 7, greatest getaway car in the galaxy.
I hope you're right about that. I don't know how much time we have. He slid into the driver's seat, practically drooling. I followed him, much less elegantly, and felt the car purr into life under me. Duke input something into the car's internal monitor that revealed a set of numbers. Coordinates.
Are we ready, love?
I still can't tell if you're talking to me or the car.
Why can't it be both?
The garage door opened, and I squinted into the sunlight as we sped out into the desert, the dunes unrolling in front of us like a blanket. With a whistle, the roof of the Ruby 7 rolled back. My eyes watered from the wind, but it was hard to complain. The further we got away from the casino, the more my adrenaline faded into exhilaration. The silence stretched out comfortably, and I found myself watching Duke. His small, soft smile as he drove, fingers tapping along to a non-existent tune on the steering wheel, his brown hair windswept. Every time he moved the gear shift, his hand brushed against my thigh, and every time it was like electricity. He glanced at me, and I fixed my eyes on the desert landscape again. Caught in the act.
Cred for your thoughts, Detective?
You did a good job back there. It really could have gone a lot worse.
Do I detect a compliment, Detective? You weren't so bad yourself, you know.
He glanced sideways at me with a wry smile, and I felt my pulse jump. The car slowed as we reached a cluster of rocks. Getting out to inspect it revealed a trapdoor under a thin layer of sand. Opening it revealed only a ladder, descending into darkness. Duke, what is this? How does this help us get on the train?
The train gets its cargo delivered via drone, and this is the drop point. I assume you're familiar with your blaster, Detective. Down below is the gun, and you and I are the cartridges.
What?
It's all right, Juno. So long as we hit our target, of course.
Duke, what the hell? But he was already halfway down the chute.
Come along, Detective. We haven't much time before it fires.
With a groan, I slid down the ladder into the dark. As soon as my feet hit the floor, I felt a hand on my arm. I would have jumped if the smell of Duke's cologne wasn't engulfing me.
Go, go, go!
It was all I could do to keep my feet as Duke crammed us into what felt like a broom closet with a door, and a door hissed shut behind us. I became aware of a faint beeping, and then...
Hold on tight, Juno.
Duke's analogy was spot on. I felt like I had been shot out of a cannon. I grabbed onto the nearest thing to keep balance, which was Duke. Sorry,
It's all right, I've got you.
His arms wrapped around my shoulders, the scent of him invading my senses. I tried to steady myself, resting my forehead into his chest. For balance, of course. It felt like forever, or maybe just seconds before the drone came shuddering to a halt, and the door hissed open.
I believe this is our stop. It seems the drone connects in the center of the train's cars. It's safe to say the weapon isn't in here.
Let's go left. We'll find it eventually anyway, unless something else finds us first.
We're not exactly going to be interrupted, darling. The next drone delivery isn't for another month.
Great, so we'll have time to starve before then.
Don't be so grim, Juno. We've lasted this long, haven't we?
The next few train cars we passed through were crammed with treasures. Jewelry studded with more gems than I had hairs on my head, blaster cannons thicker than my waist, and hundreds of other things I couldn't even begin to recognize. Duke did, though, touching each one with care and reverence, chatting about each one's history and significance and how many times it had changed hands with various thieves. It was like an incredibly exclusive museum with an overly invested tour guide.
All laced with arsenic, of course, but what else would you expect of the Grail of Thystian? Not as dangerous as what we're looking for, naturally, but its body count is certainly among the hundreds.
Maybe don't examine it too carefully then, Duke. You hardly know what we're looking for, and I'll be stuck here if some cup kills you.
So kind of you to be concerned for me, Detective. My heart truly melts at your empathy.
We made our way towards the next car, and I opened my mouth to, I don't know, refute that? Agree? But before I could say a word, the floor depresses under my step, and Rita had made me watch enough adventure streams for me to know what that meant. Duke, run, now! Duke followed my orders instantly, like he'd known me forever. Like he knew he could trust my word and sprinted through the exit. Just in time for it to close in my face.
Juno!
Duke slammed his shoulder into the door, and under the noise I heard it. The distinct hiss of gas filling the room. Duke, get me out of here!
Get away from the door. Give me just one moment.
I heard the distinct hum of a plasma cutter starting at the other side. But it would take a few minutes to cut through the solid metal of the door. I brought my shirt to my collar to cover my mouth and clear the door frame. I couldn't smell anything yet, which scared me even more. I could see my side of the door starting to glow as the plasma cutter passed through the activation panel, making it sputter and spark and stay closed. The electronics wouldn't budge, but if the locking system was mechanical... Duke, the lock! I only realized how much I'd already inhaled of the gas when I tried to speak. It came out croaky and weak. I coughed up a lung and a half from the effort of it.
I know, Juno. Just hang on.
I look around for a switch, a lever, anything that would shut off the invisible toxin invading my lungs, but my visions blurred together into a slideshow of treasure after useless treasure. I fell against a wall, and my swimming head tipped uselessly around like a rag doll's. I felt a distant sense of panic that I should be doing something, anything. I woke up to hands on my face, pushing back my hair, and 2 fingers pressed against my neck. Warm hands, soft as silk. I looked up through my eyelashes at a blurry but perfectly symmetrical face. Hello?
Juno, oh thank goodness, your heart rate was so low, I couldn't tell for a... Juno, why are your hands on my face?
It's only fair. And you're soft. Hair's real soft. But you use a lot of coconut oil to get hair that soft.
All right, Juno, let's just rest for a moment, hmm?
There was a soft, relieved smile on his face. And he gently batted my hand away from a probably priceless vase that I didn't realize I was messing with from my seat against the wall.
Deep breaths, Juno. Now, what was it you were saying about my hair?
Real soft. Wish I had hair that soft. Rita lent me a silk cap to sleep in, but it looked stupid. But my hair looked real good. But then someone broke into my apartment and it all got singed from the blasters, and Rita won't let me borrow her stuff anymore.
I'm sure it looked lovely, Juno.
You look lovely. My hand was in his hair again. He laughed a little and held my wrist, away from where it was messing up his perfect coif.
I have a feeling you're not going to mean that quite as much when you're feeling better.
I feel fine, and you're fine.
Yes, dear. Now, stay here for a moment while I check that there are no more traps ahead for you to step on.
I frowned at him and let my eyes flutter closed as he wandered around the train car, taking deep breaths like he said. Inhale. Exhale. Slowly, my brain slid back into focus and I got to my feet, steadying myself against the wall.
Careful, Juno. Easy does it.
His arm went around my waist, supporting my shaking legs. I'm okay.
Feeling a little more yourself, I presume.
Oh God, what did I say?
Nothing at all, dear. Just remind me to buy you a new silk cap when we're off this train. Now, if you're up to it, I think I found what we're looking for.
It only took a few more cars before we found the weapon. I could tell as soon as we entered the room that Duke had seen it. He fell uncharacteristically silent, eyes fixed on an egg-shaped object resting on a pedestal. Is that it? He nodded and approached it slowly. With a deep breath and one slender hand, he wrapped a black case around it with a small click. What now? I hope you weren't bullshitting Engstrom when he said he had a way off this thing.
I wasn't. There's a braking device in my earring, but it's going to be a bumpy ride. Hold on to me, Juno. I'll cut a hole in the wall once the train stops.
And boy, did it stop. I couldn't imagine how Duke managed to stay upright, but he was a lifeline in the screeching, shuddering mess that was the Utgard Express coming to its first ever stop.
Hold the egg, Juno. We have to work fast.
The walls of the train cut away like butter. This design lightly saving all the spare weight for security and more loot. Within seconds, there was a gap in the wall large enough for us to squeeze through. And sending us tumbling into the sand. The case with the egg clutched to my chest. With a shudder and a groan, the train recovered from whatever Duke had inflicted on it, and began to pick up speed within a few seconds. A few seconds more, and it was gone.
We did it!
He jumped up from the dunes and offered me a hand, his face glowing with delight. He pulled me to my feet and enveloped me in a hug.
Juno, you were spectacular!
Duke.
I shouldn't have expected anything less, of course, but I wasn't expecting you to pull this off so effortlessly.
Duke.
Yes, my incredible fake husband?
The bomb, Duke. The Ruby 7 pulled up beside us as Duke gently took the case from where it had been pressing between our chests with a sheepish smile. You sure you don't want me to drive? You've had a hell of a day.
As of you, Detective. Thank you for the offer, but I'm enjoying spending time with her.
You need to stop talking like it's a person.
Like she's a person. Now rest, Juno. You've earned it.
I stared at the slowly darkening horizon and let my eyes close for just a moment. A moment later, I woke up in my bed. The only evidence of Duke was the tux I was still wearing, sans shoes. Ever the gentleman. I smiled to myself as I rolled over, only to frown at a strange feeling on my head. I reached up to find a silk cap. The nice kind, too. I couldn't help but laugh.
All right, I think that about wraps us up for tonight. So we are going to save it there.
There we go.
And yeah, we will.
Hooray!
They should be able to hear us. Oh no, the Discord can hear us. They can hear us.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. Sorry. Just making sure you could hear us.
Sorry, everybody.
Yeah. So we will regroup another time, and we will just decide that date later. So you can look for that announcement wherever you saw the initial announcement, which I think has been on Twitter and Tumblr.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you would like to support us, you can just check the description box. You can support the Theater Community Benevolent Fund if you would like to, and if you have that ability. And thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, and if you want to support the people who made this game, which completely blows my mind, I've also put a link to the page where you can download this game on itch.io. So you can go download it, but they also have links for donations to the individual artists specifically. So if you really like what you're seeing, this is a huge undertaking. I'm so in awe of it. So support them too.
Yeah, love it. Thanks for joining us, travelers.
Yeah.
Have a good night or morning or whatever the heck time it is for you. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Bye.
Night.